tip.
Good afternoon. It is June 7th, 2017. You're listening to a Little Column A, Little Column B, hosted by Will Limonos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? Happy birthday, Allen Iverson.
Happy birthday, Allen Iverson. Is it actually his birthday, or are we just recreating I think the step over on Tyronn Lue was like some odd years ago.
Nope, it was 15 years ago yesterday, and today is his actual birthday. So double whammy for AI. I figure you gotta put that out there for the guy.
Hey, I'm all for Allen Iverson. I'm super excited for that 3-on-3 thing. But let's talk.
Is he a coach or is he gonna play?
I think he's playing, but I'm really not sure. I know he's got a whole bunch of scrubs on his team. I don't know. If you were Iverson, would you want to play? Like, I feel like you're kind of risking a little bit here.
I think it's worthwhile to play. I've been following it up. I've been hearing some interviews from Ice Cube, who's the founder. They're going to be playing in Brooklyn later on this month. So I kind of got it tentatively on the calendar as like hey, maybe I'll swing down there and kind of check that out. It sounds like it could be fun.
I think it would be really fun. I think it'd be a lot more fun than actually going to any of the games. But, I mean, you're going to see a whole bunch of retired players and a bunch of just affiliated celebrities and big names. I think it could be a good time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I got it out there. I'm thinking about it. They're at several different sites, and you get to see a bunch of different games, a bunch of different people, and yeah, I think it could be interesting.
Well, hopefully it's a little bit more competitive than what we are currently seeing right now with this NBA Finals disaster. I feel like I've been set up again. I'm very against all of this. We need to reopen this bet. But just briefly, what are your thoughts on games 1 and 2? Did they go exactly as you thought, or was this a surprise?
They're going how I thought they were going to go. Cleveland stuck in a little longer the last game, but Kevin Durant is looking amazing out there. Paul Pierce even threw out there he thinks he's the best player right now.
Not even close.
Well, in the past 2 games, how can you argue that?
I remember when I had my first beer.
No, not giving it. No way.
I think it's ridiculous that, and it's just the era that we live in, that after every game you have to reassess where this team is in the greatest of all time and where each player is on the greatest of all time list. That should be a conversation for over the summertime when we don't have any games and it's been weeks or months. It's like, okay, this is what we want to talk about. We got some time to really look into it. But Kevin Durant has looked awesome in these finals. Curry is putting LeBron on skates. LeBron's doing all he can. He's averaging a triple-double, but it's just not there. Tonight is really going to be the night. You're playing in Cleveland. And clearly, if Cleveland loses this one, you're 3-0. No one's ever come back from 3-0. You're going to be in a deep hole with them, Will.
Yeah, we may have to renegotiate that. I'm gonna get to that later in the conversation, but currently,
okay.
right now,
you got some ideas?
There's no way I'm giving KD the crown after 2 lousy games. Kevin Durant was on reasonably decent teams in OKC and couldn't do anything. He would never even be in the conversation of greatest player.
I don't think this is an all-time. This is like right now. Like the aliens come and attack, and we need a guy playing tonight.
It's still LeBron. It's not even close. It's not even close. If you were to swap their teams right now, Kevin Durant cannot do everything LeBron's doing. It's not even close. I think it's crazy for everybody to jump on the bandwagon. Now, if he does win it all, I think it helps his case, but I am not giving it to him. And obviously, I have been a very hard Kevin Durant hater of recent, but I still don't think. I mean, he's playing on one of the best teams ever right now, and I'm not giving him the crown for doing that. I don't think he can ever actually really earn that crown of best player in the NBA on this team. I don't think that's fair.
I think he could. I mean, he got hurt midway through this year, but if he morphs into the best player on this team, I mean, it depends on what kind of run they go on. And is this a similar where when LeBron went to Miami and they started to go on a run, but he never leaves and they just continue. And so, in 8 years, are we looking at, hey, the Warriors in the finals for the 8th time in a row? And you're starting to look at that, and it's KD's 6th time in a row. How does it starts to play out a certain way?
LeBron
I hope it fizzles out before that, but
I just look at even the career history right now. All right, Durant's got so much more to prove because I feel like even up to this point right now, he really hasn't done a lot. I don't think he has a very strong NBA resume.
Scoring titles, MVPs.
No rings, very, very little playoff performances. He fell short in a lot of games.
There were some injuries. The last time he was in the finals, he was real young.
I mean, we don't even have to go that far to that. I just don't think it was a very good turnout.
You got to remember in at least one of the not finals, but at least one of the playoffs, Russell Westbrook got hurt, and in another final, I know Serge Ibaka got hurt, which doesn't sound as big now, but back then that was a big deal.
Yeah, I'm not giving him it. No way, not a chance. I mean, I look at LeBron's history of not only going to the finals a whole bunch of times, but the one time he did get that really, really bad team there. The one time Durant went to the finals previous to this, he had James Harden and Russell Westbrook.
But both of those were pre what they were this year.
Yeah. Our sound is all messed up right now. We are fluctuating high and low. I don't know if it's your cell service or what, but
yeah.
Sorry for the listeners. I'm bear with me. We're getting there. But speaking of bear with me, let's chat about this bet right now. We may have to renegotiate some terms here. Not quite double or nothing terms, but
yeah, I don't think you get to renegotiate. You could try to buy your way out of this.
I don't know if I want to buy my way out of it.
Well, I don't mean physically give me money to not have to do it. I'm talking about if you're going to alter it, it's not just, we got to come to some agreement here. I'm in the driver's seat right now.
Yes, you are. And I am proposing, I need an out. I'm not even sure how I'm going to do this. I'm not even sure what I want to happen here because I'm willing to throw more at it on for the sacrifice of, maybe if I only get a game or two here, if I get that, I win the bet. If I lose, I got to do something worse or more drastic or add a little additional embarrassing tidbits to the original bet. Those are kind of my current direction right now, but I'm really not ready to give in quite yet. I need game 3 to go the way I need it to. If we're out in game 3, I don't think I have any negotiating power left. So let me know. Are you open to anything? Can we open the door?
Well, I was, but then you're really mean to Kevin Durant. I didn't think that was warranted, so maybe not now. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I'm open to offers. I'm always willing to wheel and deal. It's been so long since fantasy football or fantasy basketball. I haven't made a trade in a while.
Oh man, well the feedback I received said everybody is super interested in the short that proposed bet that we did not agree to, and I don't want to agree to. But that is something that they want to happen. They want me to play a game in short shorts, which is even weird because I just ran a high heel race in front of these guys. So I don't know whether I should question myself or question the people I'm hanging out with. Either way, I look bad.
Who are you hanging out with?
I'm not looking good in this scenario. It's not fun. But that's what they're looking for. I'm not sure how I'm going to manage to get out of this. I really just want LeBron to take over. I need Kyrie to be Kyrie of Game 7 last year for all 48 minutes. He has looked very, very tired at the end of both of these games, and well justified. I mean, I don't blame him for any of it, but we're going to need more. We're going to need a full game, start to finish, and it's going to start tonight, all right? I actually think tonight's a must-win game for the Warriors more than it is for Cleveland.
Oh, interesting. You sure LeBron's not tired? I'm seeing a lot of that. Ooh, LeBron's tired.
Did you see his response to that reporter who asked him that lousy question?
What was his response?
He said, I'm averaging a triple-double right now. I think I'm okay.
Nope, he's tired. He can't cover Durant. He's too tired.
I don't think anyone has done a very good job guarding him. They've just been fortunate that their firepower is better than the firepower at Cleveland's.
Mm-hmm. And I think we all knew that since 4th of July weekend last year.
Well, we knew that last year, and what happened last year?
Last year, Kevin Durant wasn't on the team.
Well, it's not like they won 73 games.
Yeah, they were still really good, but then they added Kevin Durant. They didn't really lose much.
They didn't win 73 games this year.
No, they didn't. I think
I,
on purpose.
I still think there's a vulnerability for size and rebounding that Cleveland has gotten screwed
Yeah,
on.
I've been surprised by that. Tristan Thompson, I thought for sure there were going to be like a couple stretches where it was just like, oh, okay, this is changing some things. But he he's it's it's like where is this guy?
I mean, I talked earlier in the playoffs about Amir Johnson. If he's going to be in there, he has to do the one thing he's good at, and that's defend and rebound. And as soon as
Hmm.
he's not able to do that, you got to get him out like immediately because you can't
Hmm.
afford to take any possessions off. You can't afford to be at a disadvantage at this point in the playoffs. We're at the NBA Finals right now. These are the two best teams, arguably not even the two best teams. These are the two teams there, right? Then it's game time right now.
Yep, very much
And
game time.
and between Tristan Thompson not looking very good, the bench has looked awful for Cleveland. And I'm just like, one of these Amon Shumpert corner threes is going to go in. I don't know when.
Sooner or later,
Sooner or
right?
later.
I'm thinking this might be a role players play better at home, and we've seen this in not just this year's playoffs, but in the past. And now you get a Darren Williams game. All of a sudden, the Corver threes are going down. Like you said, Shump, he hits a couple. It's got to go their way a little bit.
But I do think Corver will play better. I thought Corver got some really good looks, and it's the same thing with him. It's not like he's going to be able to hold on, or hang on with anybody on defense. So if he gets a good look, or if he's out there, he's got to be on offense, and he's got to get shots. Otherwise, there's no point in putting him out there. You
Yep.
might as well just roll out with LeBron and Kyrie for 48 minutes if these guys can't actually throw out a punch for their strengths. We know what their weaknesses are. That's just is what it is. You got to hope you get lucky.
Mm-hmm.
But
Maybe they will.
I am also disappointed with and man, is Kevin Love good?
He was certainly good in that Celtics series. He had a lot of threes.
Well, what's all right? What's going on? I mean, not only is he not being very efficient on offense, but he looks like a hazard on defense. He just looks like a problem. I mean, I remember this guy used to have 20-20 games in Minnesota for rebounding. He can't even get a board for the life of him right now.
Yeah, he does not match up well with the Warriors. And last year he got the concussion, so I think there was a little bit of concussion's so tricky of can you play, can you not play? It's a little nebulous. It's not like an ankle where it's like, hey, it's as much pain as you can deal with. It's like concussion's it's a little more serious. It's head injury. But when he came back and he was cleared to play, he didn't see much time. It's almost like the Warriors just the matchup makes it so he can't play, and that's a real problem.
I see. I wouldn't have thought that going in. I really would have thought this. Kevin Love's perfect in matchup, right? He's versatile. You can stretch him out. He can shoot the three. He's a really good rebounder. Even if he's a questionable defender with his footwork, he's just another good body that's an athlete out there. But he looks slow. He looks really slow, and I don't know if that's just a credit to them of how freaking fast these guys really are.
Yeah.
But I just didn't think. I knew he wasn't the fastest guy. I knew he wasn't lightning speed or anything like that. I just didn't think he was that much slower. And hopefully he figures it out that he's not in the next game or the next couple games because they're gonna need him.
I mean, he did have 27 points the last game. I mean, that's not that bad. And in the first game, he did have 21 rebounds. It's just
No, but it just doesn't feel. I don't know. It doesn't feel like he's
the
making.
stats and what you see don't exactly line up.
They don't. Yeah, I'm not reading into that. It just doesn't feel like he's making the impact like he should. I felt like Kevin Love should be a little bit more of the whole Cleveland roster should be much more of an empowering force to the smaller and weaker strength wise, not actual like worst team in the Warriors. Like they have size advantages.
Maybe that'll change tonight. But it sounds like you're nervous for the bet already.
I'm terrified. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. Nothing's looking good right now. But we're gonna. I'm not gonna renegotiate it. I'm not buying out of this. It's not
Okay.
gonna happen. I want to, and as much as everyone probably wants me to do like a double or nothing sort of situation here, which maybe we'll do after. Maybe a post bet I can get into some more trouble.
Oh, okay. I'm around. I'll listen.
But for now, a bet's a bet, and more than likely I will have another embarrassing video of me on our YouTube channel, which if you didn't know, we are now on YouTube. If you are listening on YouTube, thank you for checking us out. Just look up a little column A, little of column B on YouTube. The link is also on our website, lcalcb.wordpress.com. Make sure you check everything out on all our iTunes affiliated podcast hosts, Podcast Addict, and everything else. But yeah, another embarrassing video of me. When are we gonna get one of you? Like, am I getting the wrong end of the stick here?
I don't know, man. This one a little bit, but not the first one.
The first one was so close. Oh man,
First one was a coin flip, and I just got lucky.
stupid Gonzaga.
But I had to pay for it. North Carolina had to win. I didn't like that.
Well, you know what? I bet that you don't even remember that nearly as much as I remember this video that I get to rewatch over and over and over again.
No, I remember it all the time.
It's not ruining you.
Doesn't feel great.
No, well, neither does the video. Speaking of
It is a nice pick me up.
Speaking of strange things going viral. All right, so this thing has come across. I don't even really understand exactly what it is. These fidget spinners. This is like a trending thing, and for those of you that don't know, you're lucky. All right, because it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. It's literally, it's like a stress reliever. It's like a stress ball toy kind of thing where you like spin it around in your hand or something like that. And it's supposed to relieve stress or relax you and help you focus on something. And I'm seeing these articles come all over my Facebook feed about schools like embracing it and then schools banning it because it's noisy and it's actually distracting. And to my knowledge, there's no real evidence of either side knowing whether this is good or bad. And it's just a trendy little thing. But are you aware what a fidget spinner is?
I know what a fidget spinner is. I don't own one, and I haven't seen one in person yet.
All right. So earlier in like the pre-podcast show, you were talking about how no, I'm not in elementary school. Why would I have one? I think this is becoming an office trendy thing too. I don't think this is just kids anymore. I think this is gonna be an office thing.
See, I hadn't heard that. I mean, I get the idea of it, where you're just kind of sitting in a meeting, and it's something. I imagine that it's quiet and doesn't make any noise, and so you can kind of just do it under the table, just kind of messing around, which I'm already kind of doing with a pen most of the time. But I thought it was more of a kids thing, mostly because I've been seeing as the rise in these have come up, and it's these are awesome and these are cool, and now I'm seeing the jokes of them, and then the other side of little kids getting their fingers stuck in them, and it's like, oh, these are a hazard. Keep them away from your kids. They're super dangerous, and kind of seeing the other side of it now.
So where do you side on it then? Are you pro fidget spinner or not?
I guess I'm kind of neutral. I mean, I don't have one. If you want to buy one, go for it. I don't think I want to pay. I think they're kind of expensive. Pay the money for something that I could just do like right now. When you were talking before, I was just like twiddling this plastic fork I have near me. It was like,
are you not listening? Are you not focused?
No, I'm listening. No, I'm listening. Like you just, how you don't just absentmindedly fidget with stuff.
I don't think I'm much of a fidgeter. Or if I am, I don't notice.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
But I could be wrong. Like I'm gonna try to watch myself now to see if I do, but I really don't think I do. Occasionally I'd mess with the knobs here because our sound is all messed up today. But that's about it.
Business.
And then occasionally I look at I have a dual monitor screen here, so I got the one screen that's got all the controls of all the volumes and the sound bites and everything, and then the other one I got an open screen of some articles pulled up. But speaking of not buying something. All right, so I don't even know how it is being bought, but wasn't bought. This whole Jalen versus everybody show,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I bet nobody is. But I think it's airing tonight after the NBA Finals game on ESPN.
It was on last night.
It was on last night? It already aired.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're re-showing it, but it was definitely on last night.
I think they're re-airing it tonight. I think they're re-airing it on ESPN again. But whatever... I'm not even 100% sure why ESPN would air a show like this. So it's supposed to be a sitcom with Jalen Rose where everybody essentially makes fun of him. I don't know how this got greenlit enough to even have a pilot, but it did. It was supposed to originally air on ABC. And Jalen, we're both familiar with Jalen, both as NBA fans and post-NBA guys for his Jalen and Jacoby podcast. Another great podcast. But what do you think Jalen had to do to convince ESPN? Like, what does he have on them to make this happen? Like, there's no reason ESPN doesn't air shows like this. They're not that type of network.
Well, from what I was following along on Twitter, I guess it takes place at ESPN, or at least a good portion of it takes place at ESPN. So there were a bunch of ESPN people in it. So like Rachel Nichols made an appearance, Ramona Shelburne was in it. There's I'm gonna call it a knockoff Jacoby. It's not Jacoby, but it's a guy playing Jacoby, fake Jacoby. So I think that it's kind of set there, and so I think ESPN is almost looking at this as like a almost like an extended ESPN commercial. And so they're like, and it's getting towards summertime. It's like, hey, we could put baseball on. We have that on 5 days a week. Or hey, yeah, it's 7:30. Yeah, let's throw this on. There's no basketball on tonight.
All right, so are you going to watch the show? Because I kind of want to see it.
Well, see, here's where I was confused when it was on last night. I thought it was a TV show. So I thought, oh, okay, I don't need to jump on this right away. But now, from what you're saying, is that it was an ABC thing that they made the pilot, but decided, no, we're not going to go any further. But it was like hey, well, we might as well use this the same way the Office tried to spin off a Dwight Schrute show. They did the pilot, it never really worked, so they just threw it in and made it one of the episodes in the last season. It's like hey, we got this, might as well make some money off of it.
That's exactly what happened. But I just can't believe it actually aired. And not only did it air, I would have just thought this would have been like an original DVD release or something. Like that's how they would have got the money out of it. But ESPN aired it. I'm not sure. I don't. ESPN has to be hurting then. They have to be hurting. I feel like this is a viewer grab right here.
Hey, original content is king right now. But I mean, I saw all over the place that little snippet where he runs into Kobe Bryant. I thought that was really funny. And maybe they were just too narrow. But if you're getting Kobe Bryant to be in stuff, I'm just not sure if Jalen can carry a show by himself. You kind of likened it to like a Curb Your Enthusiasm. But one of the reasons that works is Larry David can carry a show. For Jalen, I like Jalen. And I'd have to watch it to see. It's like, oh no, he had it or he didn't have it. Just because he's not an actor, he's a basketball player and he's an entertainer. But it's a big jump to be a guest spot, to do game shows, to ooh, you are the guy.
Yeah, well, how did it get this far then? I mean, for every one of those reasons, how did we get to where we're at?
Well, he's at ESPN. ABC owns ESPN, all part of Disney. He was on. I believe it was Fresh Off the Boat, an ABC show last summer, within the last year. And then he was definitely doing, I can't remember the name of the game show, but he was doing at least one game show last year. So very much was angling towards this. And I think that's the way it works. And it just right now, if you have original content and you're likable, people are throwing money your way, whether it's Netflix or ABC, network or cable. And so I think that's how it happened.
Well, I guess I'm not opposed to people trying new things. I don't know how we got to where we are, but I'm kind of excited that it did happen, and I will watch the show. Hopefully it's good. I'm excited for all the cameos, like you said. Just hearing all the ESPN crew alone, and then I'm pretty sure there's a Kobe Bryant cameo as well. Then that could be fun. I'd also be really curious to see what Bill Simmons has to say about this. I would love to see Bill's comments on it.
And I was super confused when I first saw that little clip with Kobe, because it was like about 30 seconds and it was talking about, people were kind of saying like it was commercial. And I watched it a couple of times, and I saw some people on Twitter saying similar thing. What was this an ad for? I'm so confused. Are they selling insurance? Are they selling cars? Is this for Kobe's Views Cage show? What's going on? And then it's like, oh, okay, this makes sense. This is a commercial for a sitcom, but it didn't. It must have cut off before it flashed up at the end. Like, hey, everybody versus Jacoby Tuesdays on ABC. Whatever it was going to be.
All right. Well. Speaking of trying new things, Jalen's trying acting. I hear you're trying a new activity right now, a new summer activity.
Yes, I had my first company softball game yesterday. And now, for those of you that don't know, Will and I play basketball. I've been playing basketball for, since we were kids. I played Little League, and so Little League's from 9 to 12. I found out I'm not really good at baseball. I just don't get it. It's just not for me. I cut it off. I did some other things. for one semester in college with a bunch of buddies from the dorm. I played on a college softball team,
Yo, your
and
service is killing
similarly,
us.
what's that?
Your service is killing us today.
And so similarly, for in college for basketball, the basketball intramurals I played was competitive. We tried to recruit. It was really, we tried to take it seriously. With softball, it was like, hey, we got a group of guys. 2 or 3 of them played baseball. They were okay. The rest of us were just guys. You threw gloves on. Some didn't even know the rules. Literally, we had a guy standing on second base. A kid was running in. He's standing on the base with the ball. The guy runs in. It's not a force. So he just runs and touches the base. Our guy on second base turns to him and goes, hey, you're out. And we had to have the umpire come over and go say, no, that wasn't a force. You have to tag the guy. So,
Oh boy.
I haven't played in a while, but a guy invited me, said, hey, we got a good group of guys. We could just use some extra people. Do you mind playing? Yeah, sure, no problem. So we're up to bat first. We're the away team. For softball, you play with 10 guys instead of 9. I'm the second to last guy to bat, meaning I'm probably the second to worst guy in his head that he's thinking, which is fine. That's probably true. All these other guys were on the team before. All right, cool. So I'm sitting there. I got my glove on my hand that somebody gave me as I'm waiting to go out into the field. But oh no, our team's doing pretty well. We're getting some hits. There's some walks. There's some errors. We're starting to score some runs. It's going along. All of a sudden, Zach's coming up to bat. Little me hasn't played in a while. Bases loaded, 2 outs.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
This could go. This could go wrong. I don't really know. It's slow pitch softball, so you should be able to hit it. So it's more concerned like, if I strike out right now, this is gonna be really embarrassing. This is gonna be really bad. It'd be like getting crossed over in basketball. It's like you might just have to go home. I don't really know how the rules work. But step up into the plate, and it kind of all came back to me from Little League with I had a little routine where you tap the end of the base and got into my stance. I was ready to go. Took the first pitch just to see one go by. And then the second one, I hit it somewhere near the third base and shortstop. I have no idea if they bobbled it, if it went through, if what happened. Because all I know is as soon as I hit it, I ran as fast as I could to first base. But got the hit, scored a run, so that went well. No one hit the ball to me in the outfield, which was good because I'm not sure what I would have done.
That's what I was going to ask. I want to know what position you were going to play.
I was in center right. So I was way out in the outfield. So if the ball's more likely with right-handed batters to go to the left field. So that's the reason they sent me out there. I mean, I know what I'm doing enough that I could have made an attempt on a ball. I just don't know what would have happened if one had gotten hit to me. And my plan was just, well, I'm quick. I'm just going to run after the ball as fast as I can. But the ball never came out. But what I realized is there's just stuff with pickup that's just you're not really taught it. It's just hey, here's stuff you should do, here's stuff you shouldn't do, just the flow of it. I just felt myself I didn't know what to say. In basketball, somebody shoots it up and made it, hey, good shot. If someone makes a good play, he gets a hot grounder, goes to the second baseman, he throws it to first. Do you say good play? Is it good throw? And so I found myself, and I don't know any of these guys' names because I literally just met them before the game. So I can't even say, yo, Brian, nice play. It's just all right, yeah. All right, yeah, let's go, guys. And, everyone was super nice about it, but just, I just found myself mimicking stuff I remember doing when I played Little League or what I've seen on TV, where it's there's 2 outs and you do that thing where it's the Texas Longhorn thing with your fingers, and just kind of 2 outs, and just kind of looking around, and it was just a interesting feeling. It was a water. Yeah, so I'm on a company softball team now, and we'll see how it goes the rest of the summer.
So there's something tricky about. All right, so my Little League career was just as short-lived as yours. It was you're pretty fast. You can't hit for crap, so you're not doing that, and you're okay with the I felt like I was better at defense than I was anything else. The problem was in Little League, it's really not as relevant. Like nobody's hitting you perfect ground balls anytime, and those are probably the only things you were ever capable of actually trying to catch. So I think I was a little bit better at that, but that wasn't a very good strength. I didn't bring a lot to the table. Hitting was the go-to. Like if you could hit, you could play. Right? That was
Yeah.
chick stick the long ball. That's literally what it was. So my hitting technique is not exactly a strength of mine. So I don't really have a whole lot to add here. The last time I can't even think of the last time I played. I can't even think of the last time I played like wiffle ball. That was a weakness too. I always hated that. That was even worse.
That was one of the things when I was going into it. It's like I know I must have had a catch sometime between now and when I played in college, but I can't picture it. And one of the things that I didn't realize, so we all kind of get there and we all go to you pick a partner and you warm up. Well, what I didn't realize, I'm standing on the foul the foul line while the other guy is out in the outfield. Well, I'm throwing it to him. Well, every time he takes a step farther back, but it's so subtle, like I don't really realize it until it's like, man, this guy's farther away. This is getting to be like a long toss here. I might have to, it's not like a leisurely like, oh yeah, I can definitely get this to him. Like if I start trying to, show range on my arm, this ball's not going to keep going directly to him. He might have to chase this. This could get embarrassing real fast. They're going to figure this out that I don't know what I'm doing.
I think that's when you turn into a ground ball routine. you throw it like halfway and just hope it rolls to him.
See, I thought about that because I was thinking on the flip side, I could actually use a couple of grounders or like a couple of pop-ups, like I think like my dad used to do when I was a kid. But I didn't see anybody else doing it, so I didn't want to be weird about it. So I just said, we'll figure that out later.
Well, did you convert any of these players or to podcast listeners? That's what I want to know.
Well, it's real early on. Like I said, I barely even know anybody's name. It seemed real fast to be like, hey, listen to my podcast, guys. They just let me into their group. We got, there's 8 or 10 games, so this is going to go on for a couple of months. Well, so maybe I'll ease them into it. Yeah, maybe I'll mention next game how I talked about him on the podcast.
And maybe you should hold off, actually, because if you end up being one of the worst players on there, they're going to say, yeah, that's probably where you belong, is left bench over there in the box calling the game.
I want to be careful before I get to, too far ahead of myself. I've mentioned the podcast to some of the basketball guys because I know how to play basketball, and I'm sticking with that. I'm still gonna be around for that.
Oh man, I don't know what's worse: us trying to play softball or baseball, or us talking about softball or baseball. We are punishing everybody around us. We're not doing anybody any favors right now. But speaking of having a good time, another little article that was sent to me that you sent to me was this Predators bar tab. This was a post-hockey game tab. So these guys went to the hockey game and then they bounced into the bar?
No. So here's the story on this. These are a bunch of guys that used to live together in Nashville 11, 12 years ago. They all went their separate ways. They flew in for this game in the morning knowing they weren't going to the game. So they get to the bar at 11 in the morning, right when it opens up, to stay there because they want a good spot. You got to get there early to stay, and they stayed through the game. And so the game's on at 8 o'clock. So if you leave after the game, it's a solid 12 hours of drinking.
That's a long time.
So let me read through the tab so the listeners know what we're talking about.
All right, what do you got on the tab?
I'll read through the alcohol and then just the total.
Hold on, I got some sound bites ready.
You all right? You ready?
Let's go.
All right, so they got 93 Coors Lights, 10 Miller Lights, 10 Bud Lights. They got 5 Bomb, Vegas. They got a Blue Moon, 1 Yazoo Pale Ale, and 8 Patron Silvers. There's food mixed in with that, a couple other things. Tab comes up, the total with tip, $127. This is between 5 guys.
You're going to have to say it again because you cut out.
$1,127 between 5 guys.
That's an expensive good time. I mean, I could pay for rent with that. I could go on vacation for that. I could I could that could probably cover my drinking for a whole year if I wanted it to be. That's
So
I mean it's an
it's
impressive tab. So
it
what
comes
is the
up.
most impressive part of it? What doesn't fit in here?
All right. Well, to nitpick, I think a little bit. I believe if you look up at the top, it says separate checks and it says one of one. So I think that probably means that one guy just paid for this, right?
Yeah, I would. I mean, all right. So the original. This could be a picture of the original tab. Like the server brought it over and then asked, "Would you like me to split it?" And then they each got their own
And then,
after.
oh,
But this
okay.
this was printed originally. I would guess that's more than likely how it went. Whoever, if somebody did do that, we can be friends too. I don't know who this guy is, but we can hang out, and I will promise my budget will not be anywhere near that.
Um, another thing that's interesting. I mean, I didn't read through the food. All the food they got, it's cheeseburgers, appetizer type stuff. But they went to a place called Rippy's Ribs, and no ribs were eaten.
No, I'm
So that
looking at
seems
it right
weird.
now. So I want to know. All right, who ordered the one blue moon? Who is that guy?
So this is what I heard because I was reading some on other articles. As you can imagine, if you're there from open until pretty much through close, you're gonna make some friends. And so I guess this one guy came over with a blue moon, or no, he came over like ordered the blue moon, and it was like talking to him or something. And then he's the one I believe that bought the blue shirt because he's like, "Oh, you guys are Predator fans," and then he went, got it, somehow it landed on their tab, and like it was like that. So it wasn't like one person was like pounding Coors Lights. It was like, I think we'll switch on one blue moon and then switch back. It's like, no, that was that was a floater.
All right, you are not doing this podcast from home again. You are just all over the place, and you're cutting in and out. The poor listeners here,
Stand up.
they can't hear you. There's no other entertainment here other than hearing you. I can only play so many
Well,
sound bites to cover it.
I'm standing up now. See if that's better.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm standing close to the window.
I
I
don't
can't
even
get any higher.
I don't
I'm already
even
on the second floor.
I don't even know if that makes a difference at this point.
I don't think so.
Was that always in our heads?
I don't know. Yeah, I can hold it closer to the sun.
Oh my God! All right. Well, for those of you that don't know, Zach doesn't have very good cell phone service at his house, but apparently it's only raining there every day, and that affects the service every day. So that's why it's so bad.
It's not Seattle. You're confusing Seattle and Florida with here. It doesn't rain here every day.
It rains there a lot.
It's not true.
All right. So speaking of all these tabs, do you have any impressive tab stories? Because I can think of a few. I know Buddy and I, between the two of us, it was just two of us, we put up 22 Bud Lights in a night. That was, and sadly, I was a very small portion of that. I was not a. It's just a big fella. All right. He knew what he was doing, and he didn't mess around.
Well, here's where this group of guys, it kind of splits right down the middle. Because when I first saw it, when you can look at the at the Coors Lights, the Coors Lights, Miller Lights, and Bud Lights, those were all costing $6 a pop. That's kind of pricey for your kind of bottom of the barrel bottled beer. And so at first I was like, man, if you're like know you're going in, you're gonna have like a big drinking day, like why don't you do it somewhere else? Like you could be tailgating in the in the parking lot. You're still doing it with like a bunch of of the fans that you're trying to be with. But then I was thinking, okay, if you're making this trip up and like this is your event, $1,000 for 5 guys, it was going to cost way more than that for them to get tickets to the game. So this was actually maybe the cheaper alternative.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can see an argument for it. I mean, I can't say I would do it. I would probably find a better way to go around it.
But for impressive bar tabs, there was one where Mood was going out of town, and so we definitely racked a big tab. And first, I was just paying for his drinks, and then I was just feeling friendly. It's like, hey, this is like a big deal. Buddy's moving away. All right, everybody on board. To the point where one time the bartender came over and she was like, hey, do you want to keep paying for this guy over here who is our other buddy Pelt, big fan of the podcast? And I remember looking over and I'm being like, who are you pointing out over? And it was Pelt, and just being like, oh no, he's definitely good for it. And I probably still owe him more beers than he owes me even after that night.
Yeah, I'm. I don't really have a tab story.
No, we got the one together with when we were with
Oh, in
the,
Maine, in Maine.
yeah, the Cozy
Oh,
Crew.
the Cozy Crew. Yeah, that was a.
That was impromptu. That was Patron got the best of
Well,
us.
that was all right. That you know what? You know how these nights happen? These happen because your weather on the goddamn East Coast. Remember it rained.
Yeah, we were supposed to. So here's what happened, listeners. We were supposed to go deep sea fishing. The guys were gonna go deep sea fishing. The women were they were going. They were checking out the beach. I'm not sure exactly.
They were
I was
going
in the
out to
guys
eat.
section.
They were going to a breakfast spot and I guess hanging out at the beach. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we were supposed to go deep sea fishing, and then I mean it absolutely downpoured. Well, they kind of already had their plans, and so it's like, well, we got to find something to do. I mean, it was kind of noontime ish, maybe later in the morning. So we stop at a bar, figure, all right, well, we'll just kind of hang out here for a little bit. Well, we ended up hanging out there for a while, and we definitely broke into the Patron, and there had to be, what was there, 6 or 7 of us?
Roughly, yeah, probably about that.
So yeah, when you start breaking into Patron, and we definitely did more than one round of that, and
Yeah,
very very quickly
it was.
that racked up quick.
I mean, it's exactly what probably happened to these guys. It's just that was the nearest place that they could get into. They got in, and then they were like, "We're here. We're having a good time. This is what we're gonna do. I don't care what it costs." But that's exactly what happened that day. We found somewhere that was open that we can sit down and have a drink at. Well, I said, let's do a shot, and that's how we ended up with a lot more shots.
So these Predator guys, these Nashville guys, they have 8 Patrons on their tab. When in the course of the day do you think those were ordered?
I have no idea, but I also would like to think 93 Coors Lights. I don't know if the server was really keeping the tab that tight. Like they very well could have gotten rounded up or rounded down on this. But my guess, the Patron happened because there's 3 of them, 3 extra ones there. I'm assuming they did one round and they bought 3 for 3 other people. It had to have
What
been.
happened was they started off they were buying rounds, and this actually might be why there's a goofy number. The Rippy's Ribs had a deal on. I don't know if it was a deal or the way they did it is they just brought them in buckets. So once they figured that out, they just kept having them bring buckets.
All right. Well, I guess that's one way to do it. The bucket thing, I guess, is a little bit easier, but still, I mean, I've bartended before. I'm not saying I've lost count of things, but I'm saying it's very easy to do.
That's a tough one, especially they're right outside of the arena. So
This isn't
like,
they're
this
not the
place-
only 5 guys in there.
yeah, so this place, yeah, exactly. It's not like, oh yeah, these guys are there. It's like, no, this place is packed. Whoever, and it's probably over shift change too. So you're probably running all over the place like a crazy person trying to get everybody drinks, and especially as it gets closer and closer to game time.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. I really hope the original server got tipped out.
Yeah. Okay, so here's an interesting one. I did some math beforehand because I was wondering the price doesn't come out to anything, any round numbers. The tip's not a round number. I looked up. They tipped 18.2%. I was wondering how they came to that number. Not 18, 18.2, and I thought that was kind of goofy.
We can have them on the show. Tweet them.
Another thing that I did like, and I probably will tweet them because you know what? These guys sound like pretty cool guys. Was they were disappointed when that they didn't hit the 100 mark with the Coors Lights. It's like you get to 93, you might as well hang out for a little while longer and just you got a straight 100 on there.
Oh, so how many beers do you think they each consumed then?
From what I read, it was they were there, they were having a good time, and the tables around them were also having a good time. So it's probably hard to gauge how many Coors Lights they gave away and how many other beers they got back.
All right, so what, like
But
10 to 15?
I'm thinking, yeah, at least 10 to 15. I mean, it was 11 to 11, so it was at least 12 hours of drinking.
Oh, but the worst decision out of all of this is the Vegas bomb. That was the worst decision of everything.
That was my question because as soon as I sent you that, you immediately knew what that was. Was that 5 Vegas bombs, or is that the name? Is that the name of the drink? Vegas bomb 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 bomb
No, no,
bomb
no,
bomb.
no. A Vegas bomb is like a Jaeger bomb. It's a different it's different liquor. It's not Jaeger, but it's with Red Bull.
Okay,
So it's a bomb style shot. Similar. It's
is it
like
Harlem?
no, 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 no. It's like Crown Royal and another like really sweet. I don't remember what. It's something else really sweet. I think I can make a couple. There's a couple different ways to make it, but it's a Red Bull shot. So it's a shot. You
Okay,
drop it in the Red Bull and you drink it. That's just, I can't imagine at any point in the day that being a good idea. So that I'm actually willing to bet that was probably early on in the day where they're like, all right, let's get the party going. Let's do this.
yeah, okay,
Because there's exactly 5 of them, so I'm assuming each one of them had one, and that's why that's my theory there.
okay.
But yeah, it's just a shot. I don't know. I've never really heard of it being a big thing, at least where I grew up or where we grew up. But I have heard of it
Yeah,
before. People
and
do it
that's why
out
I
here.
wasn't sure if the name wasn't just, oh, this is a Vegas bomb. It was like, no, this is something special.
No, no, no. But it is funny the way everything is typed up on here. We're definitely gonna have to share the picture for all the listeners. I can't believe we just spent like a half hour talking about this, but Uh, then again, I think that is exactly how you end up with a tab like this. It's just things just happen. They just keep going.
Yeah.
But let's see. What do we got? Speaking of keeping on going here. Speaking of summertime fun, let's go with this. All right. There's also a Craigslist ad. When you first sent me this topic, it said Craigslist ad, dad looking for barbecue or something like that, and I assumed it was this awesome dad that had probably like a sweet property or something and nobody to hang out with and was looking to host a barbecue for people who were cool, and he put a Craigslist ad on. Well, it turns out it's the complete opposite of what happened. It was what a bunch of like frat guys looking for a dad to hang out with to like organize their barbecue to just basically have a Sunday fun day.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. They got a bunch of guys that are, living together. It was in out in Spokane, out west, and none of their dads live around the area, and so they kind of said, yeah, we all know how to use a grill, but kind of one of the things about having a barbecue is having, the generic dad there that he's grilling everything up, he's telling dad jokes, just the whole thing there, and they said they got one like real response that they were trying to follow up with, but this guy stopped getting a hold of them, and then this thing went viral and blew up. And once it blew up, they had to take it down because there was just so much interest. And now they've just gone not a completely different direction, but now they're set on Bill Murray. Now they only want Bill Murray there and no one there because they it went viral. They got a lot of attention. Now they're too good for just a regular generic dad. They got to go for the grand poobah of dads.
All right. Well, I am all for the Bill Murray eventually showing up to this, which I think they got a pretty decent shot of it happening.
Mm-hmm.
But about everything we just talked about in this whole podcast, for those of the listeners that could hear Zach for half of it, this is the most ridiculous thing we've talked about all day.
Yeah.
This is crazy. You can't just go borrow dads because your dad lives somewhere else. There's no replacing that. All right. And especially for you to label the ad as looking for a dad is just ridiculous. That there's no way that this shouldn't be viral. This shouldn't be a thing. This should not be famous. We should not be talking about this. I don't want to give the credit to these people for being just freaking weird and crazy. It makes it's the most ridiculous thing we've talked about all day, and we just spent a half hour talking about a bar tab that we weren't even a part of.
No, not yet.
So those are my thoughts about that. I mean, I'm all for the barbecue and having a good time, but just say you're looking for somebody to grill for you or to cook for you. I think there'd be no problem finding a caterer or even somebody who's passionate about food on Twitter who would gladly cook for you.
That's what I said. That they couldn't pay him, but they could eat as much and have as many beers as they wanted. This wasn't about payment. You don't pay your dad. That's the whole point.
What you don't need. I just don't like the fact that they put the word dad in there. I don't like that. That's not a replaceable person. It's not a substitute.
What if they'd put in fun uncle?
It's a little bit more acceptable, but still not great.
Okay. So Will's not on board with this, is what it sounds
I
like.
am. I'm just not on board with the wording. All right, and I
Huh?
feel like the wording is what got the attention and why it went viral, and it's gone viral for all the wrong reasons.
Generic barbecue dad. Will is not a fan.
Why can't it just be generic barbecuer? Or why can't they just find somebody like,
Because
hey,
I
looking
think
for
when you
somebody willing
say,
to grill, we'll pay with beer and food.
because you're looking for something very specific. You're
All right,
looking for the silly
all
jokes.
right,
You're looking for him to ask
so
about
you're.
school, all that stuff.
I know neither of us are nowhere near actually becoming a parent, but let's say you are. All right,
Hmm.
and your son is living across the country, let's say in San Diego, just for the hell of the example. All right, he's looking to have a barbecue this weekend, and you're not able to make it because you're in the rainy town of the East Coast. Would you be all right with your son putting up an ad looking for somebody to replace you essentially for a weekend?
I don't think of it as replacing me. It's just his buddies and none of their dads are around, and I'm dad barbecuing out here. I can't be dad barbecuing out there too. I already got my own party.
So you're all right with it. You have no
Yeah,
problem with it at all.
I'm fine with it. I don't see it as replacing and getting all sentimental about it.
Are you not a competitive person? What if this dad shows you up in a weekend? What if this dad shows up with 93 Coors Lights, 10 Miller Lights, and 10 Bud Lights, all right?
Well, that's the whole part about being a dad is that you don't need to impress people because you're there. It's the dad. You know, you're not friends. It's dad. Dad's always gonna be around.
All right. You know what? Out of all the Craigslist ads, this is definitely one of the weirder ones. I still think it's not as weird as the festival girlfriend seeking one. That was kind of strange too.
Yep, that one was
That was
weird.
that was a little off. But it is always fun to talk about some Craigslist stories. Whenever we're low on topics, I think we could always find something like that.
A little side story off of that is so for the ad they had to find a picture. So what they did was they just Googled barbecue dad, and the first thing they found, it's clearly a guy with big ass grill, grilling up a bunch of different stuff. So they just posted that picture. Well, once this went viral, he like got a hold of them and probably at first was like, why am I on here? And I think they kind of said like, well, we just put barbecue dad in there and this is the first thing that came up. And now there's talk that he might actually go to the barbecue.
Well, I'm glad everything seemed to work out. All right, I know I got a lot of problems with the story, but it does seem like it was for the better, and that everyone is going to have a good time. And
I don't think so because now I think they're set on Bill Murray and I think they went too far. You had hey, here's our sweet spot. We just want a barbecue dad. Just this is what we're looking for. Now you need a celebrity. Like they sold out. They sold out. I'm against them.
all right, well now we're on the same page. But I will say, if I was given the opportunity to barbecue with Bill Murray and this was my in, you got to play the cards you're dealt. So as much as I disagree with it, I agree with going forward with that part of it. All right,
Well, hold on. I'm gonna wrap this all right around. Bill Murray is a dad. So now what about his son?
Bill Murray.
You want him to just leave his own barbecue and go barbecue for these yahoos instead
All
of
right.
his own son, his own family.
Bill Murray would bring his family, all right, because that's Bill Murray. Bill Murray probably wouldn't even go there. There's a better chance of them getting invited to Bill Murray's house or friend's house. Actually, Bill Murray would probably invite him to someone else's house and party there without telling that famous person that they're having a party there. That sounds like a Bill Murray thing to do. Don't know the guy.
That's true.
I don't even know if that's true. I just feel like Bill Murray is always having a good time and always up to no good and just having a good time.
Agreed.
Well, this is probably one of our weaker podcasts. We got about 5 minutes left in the hour here. Between the cell phone service, the volumes being up and down, and the topics being quite ridiculous. For those of you still listening, we appreciate you. And I want Zach to say thank you out loud right now.
Thank you. Could you hear me?
Oh my
Did
God,
hear me
you
say
couldn't.
thank
You cut out. Oh my God.
Are you kidding me? I've been standing up for the second half of this. My legs are killing me.
Say it again.
Thank you.
Oh, we thank the listeners. Make sure you check us out on our website, lcalcb.wordpress.com. Check out Sold by Will for all your real estate needs in the San Diego area. I've been helping a lot of people with rentals. If you're looking to rent your place, looking for a place to rent, or a place to sell or a place to buy, make sure you contact me. Check out soldbywill.com. Also check Zach out at his wild Twitter, which he's going to be tweeting dads across the world for this weekend. You can reach him at
Wicked Z-Man 24. I don't need to. I'm hanging out with my dad this weekend.
that sounds great. Unfortunately, that's one thing you got up on me right now is I cannot hang out with my dad this weekend because he too lives in the rainy side.
It's not the rainy side. You're on the rainy side.
It's not rainy.
Not raining here.
It's always raining there.
You're confusing it with Seattle again.
Oh, it's always raining there too. I just know it's not raining here, and I assume it's raining everywhere else.
Yeah, because if it rains there, you guys all panic. I know.
It is a panic. All right, we don't have enough fidget spinners to survive the rain out here.
Oof. Well to loop that all together. Well done, host.
Yeah, we'll be back hopefully soon next week. We may have to reopen the bet. I know I said we're not going to, but I got a bad feeling about tonight. I don't know.
All right, I'm open to all offers. I'll be online all night.
Oh man. All right. Well, listeners, let me know if you got any ideas of how I can get out of this bet, or if there's anything else you think I can renegotiate for it. I'll give you the power of attorney. So give Zach your holler at Wicked Z-Man 24. We'll be back next week. I don't even have outro music right now. I may just chop this off right now and just let it be. Thank you for listening. Check out everything else. We'll be back soon. I don't even know where to go. This entire show's a mess. I'm lost.
Walk away from the burning building.
We'll be back.
Wingtip.